For me. Oh, there's his live.
What's up, homies? This is Staffa, your host of Ada Continues. Welcome to Ada Continues. This is episode 203. This is a weekly podcast post up every Monday on adacontinues.com as an MP3, or a little bit before that on youtube.com/adacontinues as a video, in which we talk about video games and related topics and other stuff that I think is really cool, like comics, but we don't do that as often. But it's like 98% video games.
Video games.
Video games. I have different guest hosts joining me each week. I am Staffa, for those of you who don't know. I think I already said that already. But I have a different guest host joining me each week. This week I have Kevin.
Hello.
Kevin Lannister.
I don't know what to imply from you saying that, so I'm just going to let that slide.
So anyways, Kevin's on the show with me this week. What's up, homie?
Not much. How about you?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Just here, looking for jobs.
Nice. How's that going?
Man, I got so excited when I saw an email from Blizzard.
Oh.
Until I opened it.
Oh.
No interview, no job.
Sad day.
Yeah, at least they email me back.
Yeah, it's really frustrating when you apply to a job and then they never email you.
Yeah,
like ever.
That's
you
like,
never know if they even like looked at your resume or looked at anything.
That's like the majority of the applications I put in. I don't ever hear back from them.
It's always nice if you don't get the job, at least send out an email that says that you did it, so that we're not sitting there twiddling our thumbs constantly.
Yep. But anyway, so this week's episode segments will include our main topic, which will be about laziness in games, whether it is like a lazy character or just like lazy tropes or just laziness. After that, we got some quick announcements, and then we have some news that we're going to talk about. We got quite a bit of news. Like last week, there was like hardly any. This week was like, bam, news. Stuff happened. Donald Trump came to video games. Played a match of Halo. Lost. Did that happen? Who knows?
We'll find out when we get to the news section.
Yes. So a quick disclaimer before we get going. All opinions that are expressed on this show are of our own and not of our employers, whether past, present, or future. Hire me. So anyways, let's get on to our main topic, which is laziness. So anyways, the way how I guess we'll do this is how we usually do our lists. We'll just go back and forth between what we got on our lists. My list is kind of longer than I thought it'd be. How about yours?
I did not come up with a list.
Oh, you didn't come up with
list. I was just going to start talking about things.
Oh,
but I will come up with a list so that I don't lose my train of thought. But I do have an idea at least of what I want to talk about.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first then, since I do have a list. First thing that's on my list, I think it was the Forza 5 audience, the one that was 2D.
Oh yeah.
Like they put in like this high definition 2D audience of like the same people pasted over and over and over. That just looks amazing. And that's I feel like that definitely should make it onto a list of laziness.
I agree.
When it comes to video games.
Yeah.
Should I go on, or do you have something you want to?
I have one.
Okay.
So I mean, this is kind of something we've talked about in the past, but a lot of, if we're talking on like lazy as far as the development side goes, a lot of games these days have been coming out unfinished, really buggy, and there just really doesn't seem to be any good excuse for that, other than the fact that developers were like, "Hey, we'll patch it later." That seems to be like the sole reason for all of that. So I think, if developers actually take the development process more seriously and stop releasing games that are buggy or broken or unfinished. I mean, I keep saying Ubisoft, but like, with the Unity release, like everything was buggy. With Master Chief Collection, no one could play the multiplayer for like the first year. I think they just now finally got everything working on the multiplayer side. And even then, it's still not perfect.
While we're talking about that, on my list I have Assassin's Creed franchise.
I just think this in general Ubisoft open world design, because like every open world game that they have is pretty much the same thing. You climb a tower to expose more of the map, and then you continue through a story.
Well, I specifically have Assassin's Creed on there not only because of the repetitive gameplay and the bugginess, but also like they obviously don't know where the story is going anymore.
Yeah, since the end of Revelations, they kind of have had no direction. Like they've lost everything that they've worked up to. I mean, the first 3 games were phenomenal as far as story goes. I know a lot of people didn't like the first Assassin's Creed game because it was repetitive, and that's understandable. But that was like the first game of the series. They were still trying to figure out what they wanted to do.
Like those games blew my mind. Like you remember the ending of 2, where the sentient being like looks straight at you and starts talking to you, the player.
Yeah, I was so amazed by that.
I was like, whoa! And then the next game where Desmond gets taken over and then stabs the chick. Yeah, it's like, what are they doing? What? I gotta play the next game. And then the next game, they're like, oh, she was a spy. We basically do not have enough money to keep paying Kristen Bell to be on this game, so we're just gonna put in this few lines of dialogue to explain why she's no longer in the game. Yes, that's it.
And then at the end of like what was it? At the end of 3, he was like, I know what to do. Yeah. It's like, okay. Like they just completely lost the entire story, and now they're just obviously
that was the end of Revelations.
Was that? Oh yeah, that was end of Revelation. End of 3 was when he actually activated the thing. That's right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's
Assassin's Creed. Period. that's lazy.
First 3 games were phenomenal, and then after that, they're just becoming repetitive in their own right. Like more so than the first game was.
All right. Move on.
Yep.
All right. Next thing I have on my list, the amnesia trope. Character.
Yes.
Starts off in the beginning of the game, does not remember who they are or where they came from.
Yeah.
You see that way too often in like video games and everything else. It's just such a lazy storytelling mechanic to start your character off with a blank slate.
Yep. Okay. I have one that's not so much on the game design aspect as it is on a gameplay aspect. Following a map marker. There's no, and I think I got really bitter about this with Skyrim, but one of the things that a lot of games seem to be doing these days is making it more on the cinematic side and keeping the flow like moving, rather than actually making the game enjoyable making the game an actual reason to explore and figure things out on your own. The answers are all given to you. You just have to follow the map marker. And Skyrim was the worst about this in recent.
Are you sure Skyrim's the worst? Because Cliff Blazinski likes to joke about how his favorite character in the Call of Duty franchise is the person named Follow.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, Call of Duty's been doing that pretty much since the beginning. But I specifically say I specifically talk about Skyrim because if you look at so Morrowind was definitely a little bit harder because you didn't have a single map marker. There was nothing ever. You literally had to figure out everything, and sometimes you were told where to go, but there was no map marker as to where that was. You'd have to know where it was. Sometimes the other thing was like the dialogue was more descriptive and the journal entries were more descriptive. So you knew exactly where things were if you actually took the time to read your journal and talk to the NPCs and figure things out. Because even if the quest giver didn't know exactly where something was, you could talk to pretty much any other NPC and get information one by one. So like, you get a quest from one guy. He doesn't know exactly, let's say he wants you to find something, but he doesn't know where it is. You can talk to other people. They'll give you bits and pieces of the information because they've heard rumors. And then you kind of put that all together and you go find it. But that was really hard because there was very little help. Oblivion took a nice balance between the two because it would give you a map marker once you figured out the information, but it didn't make you do all of the work. And it still kind of helped you a little bit. But then Skyrim, even if you look at the quest and like the journal entries, it's literally like go to X cave and retrieve the sword of X, whatever. And it tells you exactly where it is. You don't have to find any information about it. Everything is given to you right from the beginning. You just talk to the person, go do the quest, come back and talk to the person to get your reward. So there's really no point in exploration anymore in those games. And I guess I would be kind of lazy on the development side too, because then they don't have to include all of the information that you have to like figure out. And then you look at games like the Witcher series, which have a good balance because they sometimes would give you the location, but there's also a lot of things that you have to do to figure it out. Because like there was one quest I remember in the second Witcher, not a spoiler of the main story, but you actually had to like solve this. You had to lift a curse, and there was a riddle, and you actually had to find a book in a hut that was near the location of the curse, and the book actually told you an actual riddle, and you had to solve it. It wasn't really hard that it took hours to figure it out. It would probably take you a couple minutes to realize what it was talking about, but it gave you a riddle, and there was no quest marker of what to activate in a specific sequence. You actually had to figure that out, and you had to do it. And I thought that was perfect because the riddle wasn't too hard. It actually gave you good enough information, but you had to figure it out yourself. So I went on a bit of a rant there, but
my next one, I'm going to tie in with what you just said. Some of the laziest characters, like laziest people inside the world of these games, are the quest givers themselves. These people are I need 8 feathers. Can you go and get them for me? Or just like they're just so lazy and they can't do anything themselves. And they want you to do it. You, the only one in the world, has to get them this crap that they want. Oh, I need 3 leaves from this tree that's like on the other side of the plain. Do it yourself. No one cares. Quest givers, they are definitely the laziest people in video games.
I agree with that. There's really not much I can add to that.
It's really bad in like Mass Effect 3 as because the fact that it's like, oh, I lost my wallet on this planet, and the universe is getting destroyed.
And all this guy cares about is his wallet.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I found your wallet on so-and-so planet. Here it is. Oh, I thank you.
Oh, man.
You got some?
You can go ahead, since I talked a lot on the other one.
All right. Okay. This one I'm going to have a little visual assistance with. So let me screen share. There we go. Screen 1. And do you see on my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this is giantbomb.com. A lot of you listeners know about this website because of the fact that on iTunes it says most of my subscribers also subscribe to their podcast. But for those of you who don't know who this website is, it's like a huge video game database. So up here, I select characters on the search bar. All right. Now, when I type in ninja, I get tons of results for characters named Ninja. All these results, they're just called Ninja. Oh, this one's named Ninja.
Oh, wow.
So the character named Ninja is definitely a lazy, a lazy character design, or just character period. It's like, oh, I need a new character from a game. I want him to be a ninja. What should I name him? Ninja. Or Ninja. There we go. So yeah, definitely any character who's just named Ninja.
And usually you get those in like the types of games where you have multiple enemy types. I mean, like Mario games, you've got Goombas, and they all that's literally the same.
Well, some of these are actual characters. They're not just enemies. They're like straight up characters. Like one's in a beat 'em up game, another one's in a fighting game. Like they're just straight up called Ninja. But like, since I'm talking about ninjas, another really lazy group of characters, especially in the first 3 Mortal Kombat games, are all the ninjas and the female ninjas. Because they're all the same thing except different color. I mean, they have different moves.
Yeah.
Like, as far as their appearance, they are literally the same person except for a different color. And then finally, like, by Mortal Kombat 4, they decided to make them look a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Reptile. They made Reptile look very different. But pretty much, first 3 Mortal Kombat games, the ninjas are just lazy. So what do you got?
Okay, so another one I have is this is a very specific game example. Dragon Age 2. I have a big problem with this game for a few reasons, but one of them in particular is the cave design. So one of the things that doesn't really make sense to me about Dragon Age 2 was the fact that there was a set of caves that they repeated for every single cave system that was in the game. And it was all like literally the exact same cave, the same layout, but the areas that you could go to were cut off based on the quest that you were doing at that time. So I don't understand why BioWare, a company that's well known for their their amazing world and environment design and their quest design and all of that stuff, it almost seems like they took the Dragon Age franchise and then just handed it to a bunch of like students and said, here, take this amazing IP and do whatever you want with it. And the students just, reused assets in the same area. So that kind of was really bothersome that they didn't even take the time to create different sets of cave designs, and they just stuck with one, and it was literally the exact same cave. Like all the corridors were the same. They just blocked off certain areas, and that was just really frustrating. Even though the cave was not in the same system, not system. Sorry, I was thinking Mass Effect. The same physical location. Like there would definitely be hundreds of miles of difference, like as far as how far away they were, but they were the exact same thing. It wasn't even like you were going to the same caves. They were just cookie cutters.
On a similar note, on my list, I have games with the same map. I'm looking at like Crackdown 2 having the same map as Crackdown 1. Saints Row 4 having the exact same map as Saints Row the 3rd. I'm pretty sure there's more games that do that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly.
Yep. Just lazy. I mean, like, make a new map. Come on now. Come on now. Move on?
Yep.
All right. Next on my list, I have the silent protagonist trope. I feel like it's been getting worse over the years, especially when you have a character that has a specific look and even grunts and stuff like that, and everyone else in the world talks. And it gets even worse when they're acting as if your guy is replying. And then they make a joke about, oh, you talk so much, or something dumb like that. Like, so many games do that. It's really dumb and annoying. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then like sometimes they will uh change that in the sequel. Like, for example, Dead Space, Silent Protagonist, Dead Space 2, he talks. Dishonored, I'm pretty sure you play Silent Protagonist, right?
And Dishonored, yeah,
Yeah, Dishonored. And then in Dishonored 2, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the guy's going to talk because you play as both what's it, Corvo and Emily.
Yeah.
And like you get both of their perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, from what it sounds like, they're probably going to start talking. So
possibly,
it just seems weird that you have Silent Protagonists in one game, and then they're all of a sudden, oh, I can finally talk.
Yeah, and I mean, Fallout is kind of doing the same thing, but it's not the same character as the previous Fallout games. But they're adding in a very Mass Effect like dialogue system for Fallout 4. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I guess it really depends on the game itself also, because in a game like Elder Scrolls or Fallout, when you're building a character that has it has very few limits to it. I mean, like, you can build the character that you want. There's really, I mean, like with other RPGs, you're kind of limited to the class and what kind of weapons and armor that class can use, and whether you're good or bad or whatever. But the big thing about the Elder Scrolls games and the recent Fallout games is that you can build your character however you want.
And but like, there are games that don't even let you build your character. Like, for example, Chrono Trigger, an amazing game, a game I love.
Yeah,
Chrono has a specific look to him.
Yeah,
but he does not say anything in the entire game. Like, there's only one line he says in the entire game, and that's one of the endings that's really hard to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of games. I mean, yeah. The Half-Life, I mean, Gordon doesn't say a word. In Legend of Zelda, Link never speaks. He just kind of has his facial reactions.
Yeah, and like, some people's excuses are, oh, it lets me imagine that I'm them or whatever. It's like, but if you're not a white blonde boy, how are you gonna imagine that you're Link? You know?
Yeah, we'll see. And I was gonna like do a devil's advocate on like the Fallout aspect, because a lot of people are saying that a voiced character will take away from the game. Because like I was mentioning, the big thing is that you can build your character how you want, and you kind of have a set of I mean, like when you have written dialogue rather than voice dialogue, you can kind of imagine how that character would react specifically, and that's all in your head.
It's they don't qualify as a silent protagonist if you have, like, written dialogue, because at least they're interacting with the other people.
Okay, that makes sense. That's true.
Now, when you have, like, straight up, the other guys are just straight up talking to you, and you don't even have a reply, and then they're acting like you're replying. I don't know. That does not immerse me into the world. I just feel like it's just a very awkward choice to make the character silent, and it's annoying.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
All right, what do you got? Next thing on your list, or next thing you want to talk about?
720p, 30 frames per second. End of end of argument. All right, yeah. I mean, I understand that when you're working with, you want to get the best frame rate that you can, and you want it to be the smoothest that it can. But I think that we're in a time where 720p or 1080p at 60 frames per second should be standard. And I'm not saying anything like negative about the console hardware. I'm just saying that developers need to make that effort to make that a standard, because it's been a very long time, and even though we're in the next generation now, we're still seem to be restricted to the graphical, or at least the performance quality, not necessarily graphical quality, but performance quality of the previous generation. And whether that means toning down some of the particles or toning down some of the polygons in some of the models. I mean, we don't need everything to be, super particle heavy and super dynamic. There's ways that you can get around that with tricking, like, just clever mesh design and clever modeling and clever, particles and textures. So there's a way to get around that, and everything doesn't need to be at the super highest quality. But focus on the things that do and reduce the quality of the things that don't, and try to push for 60 frames.
Sure.
Yeah. There is a huge difference. Regardless of what a lot of people argue, there is a huge difference between 30 and 60.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Next on my list, you are a super soldier, space marine, the chosen one, whatever. You are a super powerful guy that can take on hundreds of thousands of enemies all on your own.
Yep. A lot of games do that.
Yes, too many games do that.
Especially the Space Marine thing. I don't understand. Like, there's a lot of games that have guys in these super huge, beefy armor, with the shoulder plates that come up to cover up their necks, and they have these necks that are like tree trunks, and their arms are it's just ridiculous how a lot of games follow that same design.
Come on.
Yeah, so that is definitely annoying.
All right, what do you got?
Next one on my list is MMOs. Now, I know there's a lot of work that goes into MMOs, but there isn't enough variation. A lot of companies are trying to make the next WoW killer by doing exactly what WoW has been doing for the last 10 years. And they're being counterintuitive by trying to do WoW better by just copying WoW. And there's so much more that can be done with MMOs than just doing the traditional, stay in one area, finish all the quests, move on to the next area, finish all the quests, move on to the next area, finish all the quests, and then grinding until you get the raid level gear, and then doing raids for the rest of your life until the next expansion comes out. There's so much more that can be done with MMOs, but no one is doing anything to exploit that, to take advantage of that freedom. And I keep saying this all the time, but EVE Online is definitely the only MMO that has kept me interested because of how different it is. For me, I've tried playing a lot of MMOs, and yeah, there are slight variations. Like WildStar had amazing combat, but it still followed the exact same thing that WoW does. So EVE, there's so much more you can do in that because they're not restricted to the rules that the traditional MMOs have had for forever. Basically ever since EverQuest, or even before that. But there's just so much that can be done that no one is exploring, and they just want to copy and make slight variations to make the next WoW killer, and that's not cutting it. There needs to be more done to MMOs to make them relevant again, because a lot of people are moving away from MMOs. Look at WoW's subscription numbers. They've gone down drastically over the past 2 years, to the point where now WoW is offering a free-to-play for the first 20 levels. WildStar just went free-to-play this week, or last week, when you're listening to this podcast. Elder Scrolls Online went free-to-play because they're not keeping the subscribers anymore. They're not keeping the interest, so they have to do something to ensure that people are playing the game. Otherwise, all that work that they put into it is for nothing.
I got a really good idea for an MMO. So, basically, you have, these two factions. You have one, we're going to call them the Allegiance.
Uh-huh.
The other one, we're going to call the Horror.
I think you're onto
sound
something.
good so far.
I think you're onto something. This might be the next WoW killer.
I'm here with the ideas, man.
I see Blizzard should hire you so that you don't destroy WoW.
Ironically enough, the position I applied for was for World of Warcraft. It was a content designer.
Yeah.
They don't want me.
I mean, with ideas like that, how could they not want you?
Yeah, man. Come on. Okay. Moving on.
Yep.
Professor Oak.
Pretty much every Pokemon game. It's all no.
Professor Oak as a character. He is lazy.
Oh.
He has a 10-year-old kid running around doing his work.
Yeah.
He claims that he made all these discoveries about Pokemon, but when he gives you a Pokédex,
it's empty.
Yeah. No Pokemon are on the Pokédex. He discovered nothing, and he's claiming, "Oh, I did all this work." And not only that, but when he offers you a starter Pokemon, how many Pokemon does he have?
3.
Yeah, exactly. 3. He has only 3 Pokemon. He didn't even log them into his Pokédex. What a lazy bum.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, Snorlax, so lazy." No, Snorlax can surf. Snorlax can shoot lasers.
He can accomplish more.
Yeah, Snorlax can do a lot. What did Professor Oak do? Nothing.
He's a fraud.
Exactly. You got something?
I need to think about something.
All right. Next thing I got, modern military.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Come on now. I mean, we're getting to the point where shooters are moving away from that theme, though, and it seems like they're moving towards
sci-fi military.
future military.
But it's even not. Even then, it's not really that future because it's like maybe 20, 30 years in the future. Like we're still using, other than like maybe one specific gun that's in the game that uses lasers, or like a Gauss rifle or something like that.
Jetpacks, bro.
Jetpacks. Okay,
exoskeleton suits.
Yeah, I mean all of that is fun, but it's getting repetitive. I mean, it was cool when Titanfall did it, and then Call of Duty did it, and now they keep doing it. And I mean, there's so much more that we can do. Why don't we explore more into the future like Halo did? Let's do something that's more out there instead of 30 years in the future when we're still using bullets, but we have exoskeletons and jump packs. I mean, even in Halo they had bullets, but I think that there needs to be a point when we get rid of bullets because they're not as efficient as certain other weapon types can be.
I don't know, man. Because those lasers.
I mean, I'm going to go to this Mass Effect argument here. Mass Effect 1 had cooldown on the weapons.
Uh-huh.
And then Mass Effect 2 introduced. They said it's still like lasers, or they're still plasma weapons, but you're just releasing a clip that gets hot, and then you have to put another clip to store the heat from the whatever produces the heat of those weapons.
Oh, that's what you mean by efficient. I thought you meant as in damage. I figured bullets would do more damage than lasers.
I mean, in certain situations maybe, but
I mean, if you're gonna shoot something that will burn me, or you're gonna shoot something that will penetrate my skin and possibly go through me, I think that's probably gonna do more damage.
No, I know. I'm just saying I wish we could get a little bit more creative. But the thing with Mass Effect 2 is it feels like you're just going back to bullets. And even though the lore says it's not, you're still releasing a clip or a magazine and putting in a new one, and it just feels exactly like bullets, even though the lore says it's not. But I think Mass Effect 1 was the best one.
You moving on? You got something?
I don't think I have another one yet.
Okay. Audio logs or diary entries. Like, especially when it's like, oh, I'm by myself. The monsters are coming close. And, oh, I think they're going to kill me. Ah! It's like, how many times have you heard an audio log that's like that? Where they're like, screaming as they die into the audio log. I mean, that's just so overdone. And also, a lot of these games that have audio logs, that's where most of the story is coming from, and it's not implemented into the gameplay. It's just implemented in like, oh, you gotta play hide and go seek with these with the story, or like it's basically like an Easter egg hunt to find the story,
I have a different view on them. I like them. But
diary entries, I think, are a lot worse than audio logs because I'm playing a game. I don't want to sit there and read a page full of text on my, whether my computer or my TV.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's audio logs are at least better because of the fact that, you can listen and keep playing, but I still think both are really bad, audio logs and diary entries. I got one more thing. If you got anything else?
I had one, but I forgot it, so I need to remember what it was.
Okay, so the last thing I have on here, I'm gonna share the screen one more time for this. So I looked up laziness in games, and I found this gentleman right here. Let me share the screen. Here you go. So for those of you who are not watching, who are just listening, this is a picture of a guy on his bed who he constructed a frame around his head to hold up his computer monitor in front of his face while he's laying down. And he has his mouse next to him on his bed and his keyboard on his lap.
Hey, this right here is what brought us into virtual reality. This is not laziness. This is genius.
This is not genius. First of all, that monitor is way too close to his head. And, there are way better ways to set up. If you want to lay down, there are much better ways to set up a gaming configuration than this. This is just ridiculous.
I think this is genius, and I don't know what you're talking about. This guy is not. See, though, here's the thing. Yes, he is lazy, but he used his laziness.
He had to work to get to that laziness.
But that's the thing. Like, he used his desire to be lazy to create something that is incredible. So in this, I remember Bill Gates once said that he would hire a lazy person over a non-lazy person if he had the option to, because the lazy person would find the fastest, most efficient way to complete something. And this guy is the person that Bill Gates would have hired.
This guy is definitely on my list for laziness when it comes to games. I'm going to stop the screen share. Here we go. I'm back.
All right. So I do have one more that I came up with. One of the things that I think is lazy that a lot of games have done.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
I think that kind of falls into the Assassin's Creed Unity bugginess.
Anyways, what were you saying?
Laziness would be like making the player do something and giving an excuse of why they can't do it. For example, like in Alien Isolation, I still haven't played the game completely. Like I've heard a lot of this happening in the game where you're tasked with something to do, and then something like you get to the destination, but then you realize that you can't do it, so you have to go do something else in order to do that one thing. And that seems to be something that a lot of games have done, where you're kind of like, oh, we need to get to this, we need to go turn on this terminal, and you get to the terminal and the terminal is broken. Oh, we need to go find, this fuse so that we can turn on the terminal. You go find the fuse. Oh, the fuse was taken away, so we need to go find where it went so that we can bring back the fuse to the terminal. And I've seen that. I don't like Alien Isolation has done it. I can't think of any other games. I know it's been done a few times, but like that's just the roadblock aspect of games. Like they're trying to build up this suspense, this drama, but it's mostly just frustrating rather than being suspenseful because it's like, of course.
Yeah, I've played plenty of games in which it's like, oh, we're about to encounter the final battle, but wait, you gotta do these random things that just came up for no reason, just to waste your time and prolong the game a little bit more.
Yeah, and like I said, like they think they're being clever with being suspenseful, but it's mostly just frustrating that you always run into a problem and it has to be fixed somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was my last one.
So, okay, I guess that's it as far as laziness in games, whether it's a lazy character, a lazy trend, a lazy trope. We got all the lazy in this discussion.
Yeah.
So
I do have one more. This is Nintendo is lazy.
Oh, God. I had like two things in the news that were Nintendo related, but then I took them out because I was like, I'm kind of tired of saying negative things about Nintendo, and then you had to ruin it.
Sorry,
you did it. You brought it in. I was gonna go a whole episode without saying anything negative about Nintendo. But you did it.
You didn't say anything negative, so.
But it's on the show, though.
All right, I won't say anymore.
You're a terrible person. So, anyways, listeners, did we miss anything? Write into podcast@outofcontinues.com and let us know. You're like, hey, this is the laziest character, or this was lazy in games. I hate this trend. It's so lazy. Just write into podcast@outofcontinues.com and let us know. So, Kevin.
Yes.
Do you know what's not lazy?
I don't know. Why don't you let me know?
The people at DreamHost.
Oh.
Because they're working on the clock, around the clock, in the clock, outside the clock. I mean, they're taking that clock to the White House, to MIT. Taking it to Harvard. Taking it everywhere, man. They're taking it to the moon.
Yeah.
The clock's everywhere. DreamHost. Because they're a web service. They offer unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, and they're also optimized to use content managers like WordPress. I know what a WordPress is. Do you know what a WordPress is?
I do.
Like just about everyone knows what WordPress is because it's awesome. You can use WordPress with DreamHost and many more features. All that just for $8.95 a month, and it gets better. If you use the promo code OUTOFCONTINUES, that's one word and no spaces, it will waive away the setup fee and get you a free domain registration.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It is. It definitely is. So, check them out. DreamHost. They're not lazy. Unlike Professor Oak.
They actually do some work for you.
Yeah. Quick announcement. iTunes, we can use more iTunes reviews. If you use iTunes, we'd really appreciate that you leave a review, either 1 star, 5 star, somewhere in the middle, whatever. Be honest. It really helps out the show. It's one of the single most helpful things you can do for the show because it helps put us on the Apple iTunes podcast charts, and as a result, it helps us get more exposure. If for whatever reason you cannot leave an iTunes review, another thing that you can do that's really helpful is to pass along the podcast using social media on Facebook or Twitter. We post each new episode every Monday on our social media channel. So, on Facebook, if you press like or share, then your friends will see the Out of Continues podcast, and helps us get exposure. Same with Twitter. If you press favorite or retweet, just helps us get more exposure. And when we increase the size of our audience, it gives us more incentive to keep doing this podcast because it makes it more fun. It's a lot more fun to have a podcast in which the listeners are sending feedback and replying to us and interacting with us. It's just a lot more fun. And Adam just sent me a message saying DreamHost.
Is he watching live?
I don't know. It doesn't. Oh, one viewer. Yes, it does say one viewer.
Might be him.
So he's probably watching. Yeah, he just sent me a message on Steam saying DreamHost. So, anyways, let's move on to news. And let's screen share real quick. There we go. Screen share. All right. So, big news happened this week. Microsoft buys Havoc from Intel.
And this is kind of huge.
Yeah, Havoc, for those of you who don't know what Havoc is an engine that it's a physics engine that's used in like just about every AAA title.
Yeah.
Like it's when you boot up a game, you see all those logos in the beginning when the game's booting up, and Havoc is most likely one of those logos that you'll see in the beginning because the game most likely uses their physics engine.
Yeah, and this is kind of big because Microsoft does have their own rendering and physics engine called DirectX. And so a lot of people are kind of wondering whether Havoc is going to be killed and replaced by DirectX, but Microsoft says that is not the case. They will support Havoc still, but they just will now get the rights to use it as well. I mean, I guess like they'll be able to share. I mean, I could see a pretty a cool combination of the two.
From what I understand, the reason why they acquired Havoc is because they wanted to use it. They want to use the technology with their cloud services to improve their cloud processing.
I see.
So that's the reason why they acquired it. From what they're saying so far, other third-party games will continue to be able to license the Havoc engine, and also games on non-Microsoft platforms, meaning the Sony platforms and Nintendo platforms, will still be able to use the Havoc engine.
Yeah, and because Havoc is a physics engine and DirectX is mostly just a rendering engine, you can still most likely use aspects from both. But it's a lot of people were afraid that like Havoc was going to be brought into DirectX and then killed, so that everything has to go through DirectX, but that will not be the case.
Yeah. Also, some people are afraid that Microsoft will jack up the price of the licensing for, like Sony and Nintendo. But I mean, if they have contracts with using the licensing, I don't see how Microsoft would be able. I mean, I'm no legal expert here, but I like if they have an ongoing contract to use the licenses, I don't see how Microsoft can be like, whoop, nope, price goes up.
Yep.
I don't know. You got any other opinions on this?
Not really.
All right.
I mean, we'll have to see what they do with it, but since this is just the beginning, so they're making their statements, but we'll have to see how true those statements are, a couple years from now.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So, more Microsoft news. Project Spark is getting some changes. So, Project Spark has been getting some Conker's, like Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was like Conker's Big Reunion DLC on Project Spark. And it got, I think, 2 episodes or so on there. It was supposed to get more episodes. And now they're getting canceled. But it's not only is it getting canceled, Project Spark is going completely free. So Project Spark, for those of you who are unaware of what Project Spark is, it's basically like this game that lets you create your own games. Like you can make your own levels, set the enemies and the your hero, and it's kind of like a simplified game engine for people who aren't programmers, who don't know anything about game development, and it's an easy way for them to, get into game creation.
Yep.
And so, Project Spark was free to play. You can, install it on Windows 8 or on your Xbox One, and you can make games and such, but you have to unlock the content. Like, for example, if you want a certain terrain, if you want a certain enemy, a lot of these things have to be unlocked using the in-game currency that you get, that you earn by playing the game, or you also earn it over time. You also earn it from doing like daily quests and such. So either you have to grind your way through getting the content, or you have to buy the content. Now it's like just going completely free. As of if you're listening to the podcast, as of today on Monday, October 5th, all of Project Spark will be free.
Yeah, I still want to try it out. I remember downloading it when it was first announced, but I never got it to work for some reason on my computer. So we'll see if it works now, and I'll definitely be checking it out.
Yeah, I've been booting it up a little bit lately. It's really cool. I really like it, and I encourage people to check it out if they have any interest in creating content. Like the engine is very good. It's a solid engine. Very easy interface to use, easy to learn. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. And I feel like Project Spark just did not get a lot of recognition. Hopefully this, going completely free will encourage more people to try it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing that the Conquerors DLC is getting canceled, though.
Yeah, especially since they've already got a couple of episodes out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of sucks having an unfinished product.
Yeah. But from what I understand, the reason why they're canceling is because they're adding more content to the game. Like it says that they're adding a swamp environment and a dragon and other stuff in there. So, if that results to being able to make more stuff, then maybe it's a good thing.
Yep, we'll see.
All right, so let's move on. So, whoa, stop this. Don't autoplay. Turn off autoplay. So, anyways, Burnout spiritual successor coming from the Criterion founders. So, the co-founders of Criterion Games, they're best known for Burnout, which is an awesome racing arcade game that's all about, knocking out other cars, and has a really awesome sense of speed and just awesome destruction.
Yep.
I had a lot of fun with Burnout, Burnout 3, Burnout Revenge, and Burnout Paradise was also all right, but I think Burnout Revenge was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't made another Burnout game since. I mean, they've kind of implemented some of the Burnout features in some of the Need for Speed games.
Yeah,
not
but the
fully embracing it, though.
Yeah, and also the recent Need for Speed games haven't been great. They've been pretty bland, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But they're saying that Alex Ward and Fiona Spurry, what's their Three Fields Entertainment? That's their studio. So they're working on like a spiritual successor of Burnout. I mean, of course, it's not going to be called Burnout because Burnout is owned by EA and they're no longer with EA.
Yep.
But it sounds like they're working on pretty much what Burnout fans want.
And this will
And
be exciting because I also like the Burnout games, and like you mentioned, there hasn't been one in a while, and it'd be great to see that series come back.
I disagree with this article where it says its third entry, Burnout 3, is widely regarded as the high point. Well, Revenge was better. Revenge was Burnout 3, except you can like do car checking, which was basically if any of the cars that were not racers, like any of the traffic cars that were going the same direction as you, if you like bumped into them, you basically like it was like kicking cans. You're knocking them out of the way. It was really awesome. But yeah, hopefully they make something like Revenge. Which Burnout was your favorite?
I did like Revenge a lot. I'll probably have to say that one too.
I think maybe the reason why more people like 3 than Revenge is because more people played 3 than Revenge.
That's possible.
Because Revenge was it was one of those games that was there's 2 different versions of it because of the new generation of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And the 361 was the good version. And the one that was like on PS2 and PS2 and Xbox were like they're basic. It was like a different version of the game. It was basically like Burnout 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Burnt Revenge, best one in the series. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. So seems that PlayStation Vita might be the last handheld device by Sony.
Probably for the best because they're not really doing so well in the handheld department. They're definitely not matching up to Nintendo's numbers.
Yeah, I mean, like they've been basically what they've been doing lately is, I mean, they've been completely ignoring the Vita. No large game has come out on the Vita since Tearaway. Tearaway was like the last big game to come out on there. I mean, they've still been getting games though, like indie games, but like nothing huge has been coming out on the Vita. They've been pretty much completely ignoring it. And on top of that, they've been porting the games from Vita to PS4. Like Tearaway is coming out on PS4, and Gravity Rush is coming out on PS4. So, and they've also said that like the Wipeout. Whoa, is that my smoke detector?
Sounds like your battery might be dying in the smoke detector.
Yeah. Anyways, so Wipeout and Killzone HD Collection will probably be something that they'll do because Wipeout game and Killzone Mercenaries, were on the Vita.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is really disappointing because the Vita is actually a really good piece of hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like my Vita, and I like getting all the games on there with the PlayStation Plus. Well, right now I don't have PlayStation Plus anymore. I had to cancel it, but because I don't have a job. And hey, smoke detector, hello. But other than that, they haven't been releasing anything, so it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, they're not supporting it very well, and it's probably they're just probably sinking money into keeping it alive more than they would, if they. I think it's costing them more than than they are comfortable with. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like an issue with Sony's handhelds with this and the PSP is that they're just too powerful for their own good. Basically, what they were doing with both those platforms is that they were offering, smoke detector. They're offering like a console experience in the palm of your hands, and So that results to higher costing production to work on these games, and no one really wants to, spend this extra money on the higher cost.
Huh.
So that results to less games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's unfortunate. Move on.
Yep.
Beep beep beep. Hey Kevin.
Yeah.
I never asked for this.
Actually, I'm pretty sure everyone asked for this.
That's what I said when they announced
I know.
the Deus Ex augment your pre-order, which about a month ago, Adam was talking about this on the podcast.
Adam Jensen? You got Adam Jensen on the podcast?
Yes,
what?
Adam Jensen on the podcast was talking about the augment your pre-order. Basically, they had like these different tiers of like pre-order bonuses. Like the more people who pre-order the game, the more bonuses they unlocked. And the bonuses were really weird because it was like this or that. It wasn't like you unlocked everything on the tier. It was you got one or the other, which was really weird.
That was the whole point of the augment your pre-order, was that you could get to pick one of the things from each tier as they got unlocked, so that you got what you wanted. But the choices were, like you were mentioning, were not that great, because like one of the choices, the first one kind of probably made sense, which was like a starting pack equipment. They gave you like different equipment based on what your play style was going to be, but even that was included in Human Revolution and the first Deus Ex. Like you were asked in the first mission what you wanted, how you wanted to go about completing the first mission.
Well, like one of the things that left a nasty taste in everyone's mouth was that the fact that this pre-order campaign basically was like a sleazy way to get the fans to harass their friends to pre-order the game, because it's like, oh, we only unlock these bonuses if more people pre-order the game. So get your friends, tell people on social media to pre-order the game.
Yeah, basically using the consumers as the source of marketing.
Yeah. So that was really just sleazy and slimy and smelled like old onions that went bad. So basically, Square Enix and Eidos, they said that they listened to the fans. They heard that everyone hated this. Even it took a while though. It took like a month.
Yeah.
But good on them for eventually responding and saying, hey, we're canceling this augment your pre-order campaign, and basically anyone who has pre-ordered the game is just going to get all of those pre-order bonuses, and they're just going to quit the whole campaign.
Yeah.
Because I never asked for this.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, I'm sure
this is a really weird website. Look, like everywhere I move the mouse, like the site completely shifts somewhere. This is so goofy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Site keeps moving around. Come on now. But anyways, yeah. I mean, at least now, I mean, I'm still not gonna pre-order the game, but now I feel less bad anticipating this game. Before, it's like, come on, Square Enix. I was starting to like you guys.
Yeah, I agree. It's still not going to be a pre-order for me, but it might not even be day one for me because my backlog is already too long. So, but I'm not as opposed to the game anymore, like just supporting them, because they've fixed what they were having an issue with. So
I'm just broke.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on and talk about Mass Effect, the 4D attraction coming to Great America's Amusement Park. So 4D is like a really
It's a
dumb.
strange,
Yeah,
way
it's
of describing a specific type of ride.
yeah. So like basically 4D. When they say this, it means it's basically like you're watching a 3D movie with 3D glasses, and they do extra stuff like, oh, you're gonna spray water in your face when they're gonna walk through the fog, or they're gonna fall on a bunch of rocks, so the seat is gonna like poke you in your back, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
like
I
the chair will move around if you're
yeah
like on a specific type of ride or something. It's interesting. There was one that I really enjoyed. It was in Disney World. I don't remember what the theme was, but it was like this alien was contained inside this thing in the middle of the room, and it got out, and it was like going around and actually like trying to eat people. So I mean, I don't know. It was actually kind of cool. It was a little scary because I was younger, but it was actually, I thought that was a really decent one. I don't know how this one is going to.
I went through one in when I went to UK a few years ago. It was at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Basically, it was wasn't a ride. It was just a theater. It was just a 4D viewing of a 15-minute CG animated Avengers short film where like Doctor Doom was attacking the Madame Tussauds wax museum. Like he even like rips off the roof of the theater and comes down and stuff like that. And like the Avengers start fighting him, and like this dog makes the Hulk sneeze, because I guess the Hulk is allergic to dogs or something, and when he sneezes, they spray mist in your face.
Yeah.
And then when Wolverine comes, like flying towards you with his claws out, they poke, like the seats have these pokers come in your back, which makes no sense because the poke is coming from behind you and Wolverine is coming from the front. So I mean, like, it was all right. I wouldn't say it was great. It wasn't bad. It was dumb in a kind of entertaining way.
Yeah.
So I guess Mass Effect's having a similar thing where it's like, but this is an actual ride, though, I suppose. And since it's Mass Effect, I'd assume that you get to make choices, and then you can build a relationship. And since a bunch of people on the ride, you guys gotta have to synchronize your choices, otherwise you're gonna have multiple relationships with everybody, and that's gonna be freaky.
Interesting.
Is that how it's gonna work? It's Mass Effect, so
That'll be the main focus of the ride, is the relationship.
that has to be how it works, because it's Mass Effect. All right, let's move on. Humble Bundle. Most of you guys know what Humble Bundle is. And for those of you who don't know, Humble Bundle, basically, they put out these bundles. First, it was like it was a few times a year where they put out a bundle of indie games. It was like, pay what you want, and you get all these games, and it's DRM free or for Steam. And then it's evolved over time where you have to pay for tiers, and then now it's gotten to the point where like they have a weekly bundle and as well as their regular big bundles every now and then. And now they are introducing the Humble Monthly, which you subscribe for $12 a month, and you'll get random games that they pick out each month.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't feel very positive about this at all.
Yeah, I will say that out of all of the bundles that have come up, I don't know, I've maybe bought into like 6 or 7 of them in total. And mostly just because a lot of the games I'm not really that interested in, or I've already played them or already have them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't necessarily want to prepay for bundles that I'm not sure of.
Yeah, that you don't even know what's in the bundle.
Yeah, and so yeah, like I personally would prefer to just wait, for the weekly bundle to come out and see if I like the games, and if I do, then yeah, I will pay for it. But I don't necessarily want to prepay for something that I've not really committed to on a weekly or monthly basis anyway.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I think the price point is kind of steep. It's $12 a month. Like if you compare this to like, PlayStation Plus, which it's a bit different. I mean, but I feel like you can still compare the two because it's similar type of, hey, you get games each month.
Yeah.
But it's different with PlayStation Plus because of the fact that you have to have the subscription to play the games. As soon as you unsubscribe or your subscription runs out, you can no longer play those games.
Yeah,
so
and like the PlayStation Plus comes out to like less than $5 a month.
Yeah, like, well, you could get like $50 a year.
Right. Which it comes out to like $4.17 per month.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think $12 is a bit steep, especially since, I mean, like if I'm going to be comparing this to PlayStation Plus again. PlayStation Plus has AAA games in there as well as indie games. This Humble Monthly, I don't know. Like this is probably going to be just indie games. That's my guess. $12 a month for a bunch of indie games that you don't know.
Uh-huh.
Plus, on top of that, I feel like their selection of games has been getting worse. For example, right now they have the Humble Indie Bundle 15, which up until this point, I felt like the numbered bundles, the numbered indie bundles were like the best ones because they'd pick out the best games for those. And usually it would be games that they haven't had in a bundle before. But with this one, they have, I think they've had Sir, You Are Being Hunted in a weekly bundle already. Cube, I know that they've had Cube in a bundle before. Goodbye Deponia. This is an awkward one because first of all, Goodbye Deponia it's the third game in a trilogy of point-and-click adventure games. So, and all three of those games, all three of the Deponia games, make up one story.
Yeah.
So you're only getting the last third of the game, out of this. And plus, the whole Deponia trilogy has been in another bundle. It was like a Humble Adventure bundle, something like that. On top of this, you have 66% off Humble Store coupon for Planetary Annihilation Titans. You get a coupon in this bundle.
Yep.
If you pay above average, which right now above average is about $7, you get Skullgirls, which is a cool game, though I think it was in a bundle already. I'm not too sure.
It wasn't a bundle because I got it through Humble Bundle.
Okay. Planetary Annihilation, which I know was in a bundle recently because I got that through Humble Bundle. Xenonauts, I don't think that was in a bundle.
No, I think this is the first time. That's actually the only one on this whole list that I was actually really interested in wanting to get.
And it's the only one that hasn't been in a bundle yet.
Yeah.
And it says more games to come because after a week, usually they add more games. And I'm assuming that the more games to come will include the first two Deponia games.
That would be a reasonable assumption.
It would be a reasonable assumption, but it wouldn't be a reasonable deal because of the fact that it's like, okay, you could pay $1 for the third Deponia game, but you have to pay, above average to get the first two games. We're holding this story hostage for
you. And that's probably part of their marketing tactic is, hey, people will want the whole story. So if they, they'll want to pay more. They're more likely to pay more if it gives them everything rather than just paying, small amount for the first one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like their choices in games have been getting worse.
I haven't bought a bundle in a very long time, but
And it's like, okay, and if you pay more than $10, you get Gang Beasts, which is an early access game.
Which
So
it's actually a pretty fun game. I have played that, and it's
yeah,
really
I
fun.
mean, I've heard positive things about it, but I mean, it's still early access. You
Yeah.
know, you're paying.
I wonder how much actual early access is for that on Steam, though, because it still might be cheaper.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna find out.
So I don't know, like this whole monthly bundle thing. I mean, if this is something that you're interested in, go ahead. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but this is not something that I'm going to be getting anytime soon um, well, I mean, first of all, I need a job, but unless they prove to me that this is something worthwhile. And at this point, I feel like this looks like it's overpriced and unreasonable.
Yeah, so actually, Gang Beasts is $20 on Steam right now for early access, so it still is half price on Humble Bundle.
I'm pretty sure there's also some people that are listening to me and thinking, "Oh, $12 for a bunch of games? Or are you a cheapskate? How's that too expensive?"
It also does all go to charity too, so I mean,
I am a penny pincher.
I mean, you kind of have to since you just moved out and running low on money. So I'm not judging you.
I'm judging me. Verdict is innocent. That's my judgment. All right, let's move on. Batman. That's the end of the story. All right, thanks for listening to That It Continues. No. Okay, so Batman Arkham Knight got pulled from PC because, or it got pulled from Steam because the PC version was broken.
Very broken.
And then, like, what was it? A few weeks ago, they released a patch, and I booted it up. It seems to be running a lot better now. I haven't had time to really play it though, but it seems to be running a lot better. And they said that they have like one final big update at the end of October in which they will re-release the game. So Batman will be back. End of October. That's what we're looking at. I will not
be playing it until probably next year because by that time I'll still be trying to finish Witcher 3, and then by the time I finish Witcher 3, it'll be Fallout 4 time. So
yeah, I need to start playing it soon.
And then I still need to finish Metal Gear Solid 4 before I can start 5.
Did you play 1, 2, and 3?
Yep.
Oh, nice. You didn't tell me about that.
Yeah, I just kind of went through them because your brother's letting me borrow the the collection thing. So
what do you think so far?
I really liked the first one, like a lot, and second one was okay. Not really a huge fan of the third one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, what made you not like the third one? Was it the mechanics, the story?
I think it's mostly just the story. Mechanics were definitely improved over like the first couple because it's a lot easier to do things from a third-person view rather than an overhead view. But I don't know. I just didn't find that much interest in the story. I don't know. Like Ocelot was annoying all the time.
But the end is awesome.
Yeah, the ending is
the guy. The end.
Oh yeah.
like you know that if you save during the boss fight and then change the clock to be a week later, he dies.
Oh, I didn't know that actually.
Because he dies of old age. He doesn't survive a week later.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can see that though because there is a lot of stuff in those games that breaks the fourth wall. So that's a pretty cool way of doing it. But I don't know. I wasn't.
What do you think about the Psycho Mantis fight when you went against him?
That one was hard, but it was actually it was kind of fun at the same time because I mean, doesn't he also like read from your memory card? But since I don't really have anything on the memory card, so I really didn't do much. But
yeah, like if you have Castlevania or soccer, he reads that.
Yeah.
Also, he mentions things about like how many times you've saved, and stuff like that. If you're playing the GameCube version, Twin Snakes, then if you've played Super Mario Sunshine, he mentions that you like Mario.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I really liked the first one a lot. I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate the third one. I just didn't find it as interesting as the first one.
So, like, you switched controller ports, right?
I did not know about that. Actually, I looked that up, but
Man, Campbell straight up tells you. I know somebody who did not realize that you had to switch control ports, and he refused to listen to Campbell's to Campbell's advice. And at that time, internet wasn't really a big thing, so he went through fighting Psycho Mantis in controller port 1.
Yeah.
And then, like, right as he had like 1 pixel of health left, the power went out.
Oh man.
And he was like, man, this is the hardest boss I've ever fought. Like, you're a dummy. But yeah, Batman coming back end of October. You know what? Since they gave me a broken product, they should give me a free game. But I'll forgive them and say don't give me a free game as long as they just give me a job. That'd be fine too.
Yeah,
I'll accept the job.
I'm pretty sure that would be more expensive for the.
It's the least that they can do. You know, they kind of owe it to me.
Every all the hundreds of people who they ripped off on the PC side should get a job.
No, just me.
Just
me. All right. So that's it. Oh, stop. There we go. Hello.
Oh,
hello. I'm here. So anyways, let me get the outline back up. Boop. All right. So that's it for news. We have no listener feedback this week. Why? Why aren't you guys writing in? Write in. Beep, beep, beep. That podcast at outofcontinuous.com. Send us your feedback. Send us your questions. Give me a question. Give me something hard. I'm ready. Give it to me. Just give it to me. Right here. Give me the hard questions. Podcast at outofcontinuous.com. I'll read it and I'll answer it. And I'll have and if your question isn't like directed just to me, then I'll have the guest host answer as well. Yeah, podcast at outofcontinuous.com. Some quick shout outs, plugs. Check out the Twitch stream, which I've been doing more lately. That's twitch.tv/SayedStafa. SayedStafa. I should probably do some Batman on there. I should probably do the Black Shell Media games on there as well, the ones I need to catch up on.
Oh yeah, I need to do that too.
Yeah. Out of Capes podcast will be returning this week.
Yay.
After we watch The Flash season 2, episode 1. Man, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
I like The Flash. Flash is a fun show.
Actually, I don't even know if I watched the last episode of last season or not. I need to check if I did.
What do you remember Flash doing?
I don't think I saw the last episode, actually.
Well, you need to catch up.
I'm going to catch. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I didn't watch. No.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is that what you're thinking?
There was something about like that like whole week where I just didn't watch anything. I don't know why.
No,
I just need to catch up. I know.
Flash. Zoom.
I feel like I should have finished Flash because that's not even like tied into Marvel at all. So I don't know why I missed that. I don't know. I will figure it out and catch up.
Flash is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
I hope that they continue making a fun show, because that's what I liked about the first season. It was really fun.
Yep.
And yeah, look forward to it. Eric and I will be doing a review on that.
Sweet.
Man, Jessica Jones is going to be starting up next month. That's going to be cool.
Oh yeah, you did message me about that.
Yeah, like they've been releasing a bunch of teaser trailers. Like they have 3 teaser trailers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it funny in the YouTube comments where people are comparing it to Supergirl. Like a bunch of people like, rest in peace, Supergirl. They are like completely different shows.
Yeah.
Completely, you cannot compare them. The only thing you compare is like they're both superhero females. That's it. That's like it's you no they're uncomparable. But I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, maybe I'll watch the first episode of Supergirl, see how that is. It doesn't really look like something I'll end up watching though. Heroes just started up. Heroes
I have
Reborn.
not watched that show at all.
Yeah, I need to check that out, see if that's any good. Have you watched any of Vixen?
Nope.
Like each episode's like 4 minutes long.
Oh, I'll need to do that then. That should be easy enough to catch up with.
like the teaser for the next episode is like just about as long as the episode itself.
It's funny.
It's like, come on now, these are way too short. But yeah, animation's pretty good. It's like the same style as Young Justice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And it has Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin in there. So
nice.
Anyways, let's wrap things up. Do you have anything you want to plug real quick?
Extra Life is coming up pretty soon, actually. It is like a month away. And
I feel like you've been saying that for like the past 5 months.
Well, it's always Extra Lifetime. So if you're not signed up, go to www.extra-life.org. You can sign up. It's completely free, and you'll get your own donation page. And then you can submit that out to your friends and family and coworkers through Facebook, Twitter, email, any way that you see fit. And share that donation page with them and ask them to donate to you. And all the money that you raise will go directly to any children's hospital that you represent. Here in Indiana, we represent Riley. I'm sure, Staff, if you wanted to represent Riley as well, you can. But whichever.
What about money to me?
This is for sick children. Are you a sick child?
I'm a broke man.
But basically, Extra Life will let you play games to raise money for children's hospitals. So on November 7th, the official game day, you get to play games for 24 hours straight as a reward, essentially, for raising money. It's kind of it basically works like Relay for Life, but instead of walking, you play games. It's pretty fun.
What if we do like a 24-hour video game podcast?
You can do that if you would like.
We should do that.
I'm going to be busy playing games. I'm
nonstop. We can play on the podcast too.
I was about to say I'm happy to like join you on a stream or something if you'd like.
We'll nonstop dance until your pants drop or something like that.
No, that's going to be dance 24 hours straight. That's going to be hard. I know the dance marathon people do that, but that's intense. Oh, look at that. Stuff has already got it going. Hey, just do that for 24 hours and you're good. You're golden.
Sure. I'm always golden. So anyways, if you enjoy what we've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can leave an iTunes review. You can contact us by email. That's podcast@outofconfused.com. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All those things that I've just mentioned can be found on the website. That's www.outofcontinues.com. Speaking of emailing us at podcast@outofcontinues.com, you can go ahead and email us. That's fine. If you have like games to send us, that's fine. But don't act like don't lie to me. Don't be like, hey, I love listening to your show. I am a fellow tabletop gamer. Here is my Kickstarter for this tabletop game.
Have you gotten many of those?
Yeah. Like I had one the other day. It's like, you know what? That's fine that you emailing me. And if you want me to like talk about your thing, that's fine. But just don't lie to me about it. Don't be like, hey, I'm a fellow tabletop gamer like you guys. How often do I talk about tabletop gaming on this podcast? Not very
0
often.
out of 10 times.
No, I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before, but not.
Yeah, I know we mentioned the Witcher board game, or at least I did.
But
We
still,
talked about the Bioshock board game at one point.
Don't lie to me. Just be honest. Be honest, and I'll be fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if you send me your games like Black Shell, I'll play it. I'll make a video. You know, whatever. Kevin will eventually make a video.
Yeah, I have 3 to make. So
Man, it just takes like 20 minutes. Come on now.
yeah.
Turn on OBS.
Yep.
Turn on the mic. Start talking.
So basically what the podcast is.
You can also give me a tweet. I am at Sayed Stafa. That's at SAYEDSTAFA. And Kevin over here.
I am at KS Trehan. That's KSTREHAN.
And I would like to thank my guest host for joining me today, Kevin.
Thanks for having me on your podcast once more.
And I'd like to thank whoever my viewer is, probably Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
Dream host. And with that said, I'm your host, Stafa. I'm your dream host, Stafa.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week as we talk about another mysterious topic. Woo, October spooky. You don't know what's the topic yet. Oh, the Undertaker.
Nice.
Yep.